there is not a source of sickness. We know that sometimes it feels like that to you because sometimes you're living something that you don't mean to live. And when someone says, you know, you create your own reality, you don't want to hear that when you're created something that you do not want. And then you assume, well, there must be something screwy with this because I would not do this to me. So there must be other factors. And we say the only other factor is that you're offering vibrations without being aware that you're offering vibrations. You've offered them so long, people around you have offered them, they feel normal. So you say it's normal to feel bad about this. It's normal to feel unhappy about this. It's just normal. If you betray your population by being cheerful when they think you should be mournful, they'll call you names. They'll call you Pollyanna, at which point we would point out, she lived a good life. You cannot focus upon things that make you feel good without moving toward thriving. And you can't focus upon things that make you feel bad without moving away from thriving. And if you call moving away from thriving a source of badness, we say it's not a source of badness, it's just moving away from thriving. And when you get that you're in control of which way you move, and you care infinitely about the way you feel, now you have guidance within you that's active. Now you have awareness. Now you can tell which way you're moving. It is important that you don't beat up on yourself when you find yourself moving in opposition to what you want. No problem. When possible, make a legal U-turn. There's enormous leeway. You can move around all over the place, and you do that all the time in your determinant of what you want. You said, I'll go forth and I'll sift through the data, and out of this sorting process, I will give birth to preferences. But once you give birth to a preference, you want to do yourself a favor and get up to speed with the preference you've given birth to. Because when you give birth to something and your source rides the rocket of your desire and you don't ride the rocket of your desire, you have vibrational discord. So when you leave here today, please think often about the term vibrational relativity. The vibrational relativity between what I'm doing as I'm beating the drum of whatever I'm focused upon right now, and the vibration of where my source is and where my true heart is, where my desires are. And the better I feel, the more in alignment it is. Contrast causes you to launch a rocket of desire. Source immediately agrees with that rocket. So now here you are, in some measure of discord. You've launched a rocket you're not up to speed with yet. You want it, but you don't believe it. You want it, but you doubt it. You want it, but you want to believe it, but you don't believe it because you doubt it. But you want to believe it, you want to believe it, so you try to believe it, so you try to believe it. So you look at people who are living something like it, and they make you sort of believe it, but you don't believe it, but you want to believe it, but you try to believe it, but you don't believe it, but you try to believe it, that you look for evidence to believe it, you find evidence to believe it, now you believe it, now you are it. And now you have a new set of contrasting experiences, which gives birth to another rocket of desire. But you don't believe it, but you want to believe it, but you don't believe it, but you want to believe it, but you doubt it, but you want to believe it, so you try to believe it, but you don't believe it. But you look for evidence to believe it, and you find some evidence to believe it, and now you sort of believe it, and you want to believe it, and now you 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 are it. And now you have another set of contrasting experiences. And you want it, but you don't believe it. That's the work. And the guidance within you lets you know how you're doing. You can tell. You can tell when you're moving toward believing it or not believing it. But you know what keeps tripping so many of you up? Instead of just factoring in the relativity between where you are and where you want to be and where source agrees with you, you say, I want it, but I don't believe it. But I want it. But should I want it? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Should I want it? What do you think? Do you know anybody who's ever wanted it? How did they do? Is it all right that they wanted it? Did their life get better because they wanted it? They were condemned to hell because they wanted it? How many people think it's okay to want it? I need to poll how many people to find out whether it's appropriate more for me to want it? Ask my mother. I don't think my mother would understand that I want this. Mother, is it all right that I want this? It isn't all right that I want this, but I wanted this. What do I do now? I'll ask someone else. And then I'll ask someone else. I wonder what this church thinks about it. I wonder what these people think about it. Met a new boyfriend. He liked me till he found out I wanted that. I'm lost. I don't know which way I should go. I want it, but I don't know if I should want it. And then you get lost because your journey is no more quantifiable. You can't tell which way to go. This one would have you go that way. This one would have you go that way. This one would have you go that way. This one would lay out a whole list of other things you want that your life experience hasn't told you that you want. Your teachers will present long lists of things that you're supposed to want that your own personal experience hasn't caused you to give birth to. So now, not only do you not know how to get to the things you want, you've got a whole long list of things you're supposed to want that you don't want. It's no wonder that you're spinning out there in Yuma, feeling unfulfilled and unsatisfied, because you disassociated pretty early on, most of you, with your own sense of purpose, with your own sense of being, with your own guidance system, with your own relativity between where you are. And friends, it is so very, very simple. You are such worthy creators, and when your life helps you to conclude a preference, Source agrees with it so powerfully that you've got to go along with your own desires if you are to find the fulfillment of your life's purpose. The other day, Esther felt a new desire hatch within her. She didn't expect it to happen. And she said to Jerry, uh-oh, a desire is hatched that I'm not up to speed with. And I don't really have time to get up to speed with it. And then she realized she's got no choice but to get up to speed with it. In other words, you can't hatch a desire and not get up to speed with it and ever be really joyful. Do you get that? Your purpose is to conclude your preference. Your preference is unique and valuable. And when it is born, you must follow it like your source did. And if you don't, your emotional guidance system will say to you lovingly and gently at first, you're not a vibrational mesh to where you have gone. You cannot withdraw from that which you have become. There's no turning back. You are leading edge creators on the leading edge of thought, and when a desire is born within you, you must go with it. You must go with it. It is your legacy. It is your inheritance. It is your right. It is your creative endeavor. It is your life. It is who you are. It is why you came forth. You must go with the flow of life. So, good feels good. It does feel good. So why do you worry that you might not be moving in the direction of that which is good? And part of it is because sometimes when you're moving in the direction of good, it doesn't feel all that good yet. Joseph Campbell coined the most wonderful words that we've ever heard from your physical tongue when he said, the key to life and the joy of life and fulfilling life's purpose is to follow your bliss. But when you're in depression, you can't get a whiff of bliss. So we say, follow your bliss, but stop off for a moment in revenge. It will do you good. If you're depressed. If you're angry, we would never take you back to revenge. If you're frustrated, we would never guide you toward revenge. That's going the wrong way. But if you're depressed or fearful, we'll point you in the direction of revenge, and we'll applaud when you get there. Revenge is a stopping off point, a stabilizing point on your way to bliss. Anger, even closer to bliss. But anger feels a long way from bliss, doesn't it? And so if you don't know about your own emotional guidance system, and you haven't taken the time to personalize how bliss feels in comparison with appreciation, or how fear feels in relationship to anger, then you might be taking somebody else's word for it. And as they say to you, you're angry and you shouldn't be. I've enrolled you in anger management seminars. You might not know that your anger is an improvement. So you might not know which way you're going, but you know what? You'll never not know that again. You heard it, and it resonates with everything that you know to be. Your own life experience has shown you how these emotions feel. You can now tell when you are upon your path. Some worry, oh, Abraham, what if you're wrong? What if I spend time in revenge? We say, don't spend long there. Don't spend enough time there that you act on it. Just think about it. And then get into anger and stabilize there and then move into frustration. And what you will show yourself is that you can move easily within a few days from the depth of despair into something that feels very much like conjoining with that which you know as bliss, source, God, well-being. You can prove it to yourself in a very short period of time. And once you do, we do not believe that you will ever doubt again your worthiness. You can be sitting in a restaurant and just think some sweet thought of appreciation about someone you don't even know, and you can feel the confirming rippling of source energy bubbling through you in agreement with your statement of appreciation. And you can find some justified, validated reason for condemning some rascal in your environment, and the emptiness you feel in your stomach is your validation that you've gone someplace that is unnatural to you and a place that your source does not go. And before you know it, with a little bit of practice, you will never again need the uninformed, impossible to be right opinion of anyone outside of yourself. Because no one else can understand the vibrational relativity of what's going on within you. So when someone gives you a metaphysical New Age term like you need to balance your energy, now you know finally what that means. Balance your energy with what? With your energy. Balance your energy with who you are. Balance your energy with your own desires. Balance your energy with who you are becoming. Balance your energy with that which is out there in vibrational escrow for you. Bring yourself into alignment with you, not into alignment with your mother, not into alignment with some church, not into alignment with somebody else's opinion, not into alignment with your boyfriend or your spouse or your children or your mother or your father or your sister or your brother, into vibrational alignment with you. And when you find vibrational alignment with you, the clarity of your being is such that those who see you, those who perceive you, those who even get a little taste or a whiff of you will be uplifted by your presence. Because when you are in alignment with you, you are pure positive energy oozing all over the place, and anybody who comes near you benefits from it. And you personally thrive. You feel good, you look good, you have stamina, you have energy, you have balance, you have clarity, you have wit, you have abundance of all things that you consider to be good. You thrive in all ways when you come into energy balance with you. Vibrational relativity, that's what it's all about. Well, we're done. It's been very nice visiting with you. Now go forth into your lives and watch your vibrational relativity, and if you don't feel good, do something about it. And complaining about somebody else doing something about it is not you doing something about it. When you say, I don't feel good because I don't like what you've done, you're putting yourself in an impossible position because you can't control what they do. They're approaching things differently. They've got different vibrational relativity. If you need them to be different so that you can feel better, you're in deep doo-doo, because even when they really love you, they can't really do that. Have you ever had someone try hard to do whatever you want them to do? Sooner or later they let you down, don't they? Sometimes they have the gall to focus on their own life instead of yours. And then you say, don't be so selfish. And what you mean is, never mind your selfish nature, tend to mine. And sometimes they say that to you, and it's ridiculous no matter who's saying it to who, because you are the only one who can control the way you feel. And you have to get to the place where you want to feel good so much that you practice feeling good under any and all conditions. And before you know it, you've tuned yourself, you've toned yourself, you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You are a vibrational equivalent to such good feeling things that bad feeling things cannot come your way. And when they happen to others that you love, you're briefly there, but you're not there for long, because you are such a vibrational match to the well-being that is really who you are, because you have figured out how to balance your energy. You have figured out how to come into alignment with the energy that was you when you got here. You've returned to the pure state of knowing that you are a creator, and that all is well, and that you never get it done, and that you can't get it wrong. And the reason you can't get it wrong is you can't get it done. Even if you're standing in a place that feels wrong, it's not done. So make the best of where you are and it'll get better. And keep making the best of where you are and it'll get better still. And if you keep making the best of where you are, it will get so good, you'll forget it was ever bad, you see. It was ever bad, you see. It was ever bad.